Eyes up, hands down. Nigeria self can come from above. Please don't let my dressing confuse you. I'm not talking about God or religion. Are you hungry? Of course you're hungry. I am hungry too. And like you and me, a lot of people in Nigeria are very hungry. In 2012, there was a disaster that washed across 30 states out of the 6 in Nigeria. Nigeria lost $16.9 billion over a flooding incident that affected infrastructures, feeding, housing, people. It displaced 1.3 million people. There are so many people from 2012 who are yet to recover from the flooding incident today. Next slide. That is not over. It happened again. This time in Sokoto, Nigeria lost 27.5 billion naira due to flooding. One would think after all these disasters, Nigeria should be out of the boot. No. Please go back. This is what the lives of so many people in Nigeria are like today. They live in waterlogged areas. They don't know when the next flooding is coming. They don't know when to plan. They don't know what to plant. They just sleep, wake up, and the next day it's like they're in Lekki. There's water everywhere. Next slide, please. And this tragedy continues. Nigeria losing 5 billion. Nigeria losing this. Nigeria losing people. People losing houses. Husbands losing their wives. Parents losing their children. Next slide. Now, this next slide is very important. I want you to pay attention to it. Ibaji in Kogi State is one of the places in Kogi State where the largest quantity of food is produced. Recently, Ibaji experienced a flooding incident which wiped out farms, wiped out houses, and it displaced a lot of people. What this resulted in is that the price of food went up, the cost of living went up, people became displaced in their own homes. You would wake up you would sleep at night, wake up the next morning, and the next thing your house is swimming away from you. Next slide. There is more trouble, which is quite sad. Across Nigeria, there are different problems. Nigeria is facing farmer-settlers conflict. We have the food shortage problem. We have mass displacement. We have increase in ethnic resentment. And all of these things have long-term economic consequences. Food is at an all-time high expensive. Food is expensive. Nobody's life is secure. Next slide. Nobody's life is secure. You wake up one morning in your house, you wake up the next morning, and you have been kidnapped. In North Central Nigeria, we have issue of farmer-settlers crisis. We have abduction. We have banditry. In Northeast and Northwest, they are dealing with Boko Haram and ISWAP. In South and Southeast, ethnic clashes, farmer-settlers crisis. We have the IPOB separatist agitations, attacks on security formations. Since December 2020, when ESN, that's the Eastern Security Network, was created by IPOB, the Southeast has been having a series of attacks on police stations, on military outposts, and recently on INEC offices. In Southwest Nigeria, the crisis continues. We have cases of abductions, we have robbery. People now no longer wait until night time before they rob you. You get robbed in the middle of the day, in the middle of the road. Next slide. The Nigeria we have today, the truth is that nobody is safe. Your homes are not safe if you don't get robbed overnight. If bandits don't come into your house to come and burn it and pillage your food, the flooding will take away your home from you. Your homes are not safe, your children are not safe, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, relatives, nobody is safe in Nigeria. Your ideas are not safe, your dreams are not safe, and you are not safe. This is quite gloomy and it's quite dark, but does that mean that it's the end for Nigeria? No. Next slide. We all know this one, right? Former President Olusegun Obasanjo. During Obasanjo's tenure as Nigerian president, he gave us a lot of things. One of them is the GSM that we all have in our hands today. Aside the GSM, Obasanjo was able to implement a lot of projects. He took Nigeria from a country owing a lot of money, the Paris debt fund, and so on and so forth. Obasanjo was able to improve Nigeria's agricultural production by large percentages during his administration. Obasanjo was also able to improve Nigeria's security infrastructure during his administration. I'm not here to praise Obasanjo's great things, I'm just mentioning some of the things that he did. But before Obasanjo left as Nigerian president, he gave us something else that a lot of people do not know. Can anybody identify what this is? Anybody? Well, that's not a solar panel. I did not know about this until last year, so it's fine if you do not. This is an Earth observation satellite. Next slide. This is an Earth observation satellite. When it goes up in the sky, it spreads out like this. So what this thing does is that when it is up above us, it starts gathering information on the things that are going on the ground. And then it sends that information to a ground station. So it picks the data about what is happening from the top, and then it sends it down to a ground station. Then the ground station processes that information into pictures. The pictures are then used for different things. It can tell us when it is going to rain, for how long it is going to rain, how hard is it going to rain. We can prevent disasters. And of course, it also shows us the extent of our land. One of the things Nigeria has had with fighting Boko Haram is that Nigerian territories are difficult to define, especially in the northeast region. There are some places in Yobe that what is separating Nigeria from another country is just a gutter. You cross the gutter, you're in another country. You move backwards, you're in another country. In fact, when this NIN registration started, there are so many people in countries like the Republic who came through Barotini in Kwara State. There are people in Niger Republic, people in Chad, who come into Nigeria and then make the kind of restrictions that we do, because some of them almost live in Nigeria with us. There are some houses in Nigeria's northeast and northwest region where the electricity they are using is not from Nigeria, although they are Nigerians and they live in Nigeria. So for us to properly understand these margins, these lines, what they mean to us, and how we can protect these lines to ensure that the people that are coming into the country are not coming in to do more harm. This thing up here can give us accurate information about the extent. It can give us information to the point of knowing when a lot of people are moving in, and then we can go there and investigate why are a lot of people moving in through this border. Next slide, please. And the next question is, where has this been used before? Next slide. Do we know what this is? Sahara Desert, we all know. When previously in the past, when travelers enter desert, the first thing that comes to their head is they need water, right? When people are in desert, it is very difficult for them to find water, extremely difficult. So when some people find water, they make markings, they put stones, they try to demonstrate that if other travelers are coming in to that part of the desert, they will be able to get water easily. But the problem is that the wind in this desert is very strong. You can build stones and then in the next 10 minutes, the wind blows and it clears everything. So that is not enough. Next slide. Now this is also the same Sahara Desert. This cream-colored area, that's the sand. The green we are looking at, those are trees and other things in the desert. And in this blue line we are seeing, these are the parts of the Sahara Desert where there is water. So unlike in the past, when people go to the desert blindly, they don't know where to get water. Now with your phone, if you all have Google Map on your phone, you have the option of using street view or using satellite view. If you use satellite view in the Sahara Desert today, you can pinpoint exactly where there is water very easily, free of charge. Next slide, please. Now, aside being able to find out where there is water and how to navigate through desert, Earth observation satellites also allow us to monitor pasture. And this is how this works. In the first few slides that I was projecting, we had cases of flooding, people planting the whole season, and when it was time for them to harvest, it rained and it took everything away. But with Earth observation satellite, we can have prediction systems that will tell us when we should expect flooding incidences. We can have prediction systems that will tell us to what extent this rain is going to fall. We can have prediction systems that will tell us if it is going to fall from here to Abuja, or if it is going to be just in Lokoja. We can have prediction systems that will help farmers to know the kind of things they can plant in a particular season. Climate change is a very important issue that is growing. The world is changing. Land waters and water bodies are drying up. The lakeside region is not as it used to be in terms of having water. But with this, we can now start looking at how we can use these prediction systems to prepare our farming systems. So people who do small-scale farming, I mean, that sounds far-fetched. I mean, why should Mr. Shuaibu, who only plants at the back of his house, care about satellites, right? But with simple tools, with Google Maps, with simple SMS systems, yes, SMS, with simple SMS systems, we can now inform Mr. Shuaibu that if you farm in February, it is going to rain during the second and third week. You are not going to get to harvest. Or you can tell Mr. Shuaibu that if you plant in May and you plant a type of yam, you're only going to get like 10% of it just through SMS. So the information comes from up, goes to the ground station, gets processed, it gets sent to NIMET or NEMA, that's the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, and then the National Emergency Management Agency. And then they can SMS Mr. Shuaibu. The same way we receive messages on our phone that you need to buy a recharge card, you need to go and do your NIN and the likes. You can then message Mr. Shuaibu and tell Mr. Shuaibu that if you farm during this period, this is what is going to happen to you. Now, one thing I want to mention also is that one of the biggest problems we've been having in Nigeria that we have been diagnosing wrongly is the farmer-settlers conflict. We do not have enough resources at present to tell ourselves to settle the rifts between farmers and herders. And until we sit down and properly look at the challenges, we cannot provide a solution. And one of the problems that farmers and herders are having is that we have limited resources. The way people used to have abundant land in the past is not how they have it now today. You could travel from northeast Nigeria down to southwest Nigeria, and you might not meet any farmer or anybody on the road in the past. But today, no herder will move from northeast and travel to southwest and not confront people who are living in settlements, who are living in villages. But using satellite data, we can now effectively map those places. We can now tell herders that, okay, so this place, people are not farming at the moment because they're experiencing flood or their farming season is over. You can take your cattle to this place, let them graze on that farm. I mean, it's also going to help farmers who want to farm the next season. So let them graze on that farm. Let your cow, let them poop on the farm for manure for the next planting season. So doing all of these collaborative things, we can avoid conflicts like farmer-settlers conflict. Today, people are dying in Benue, tomorrow in Kogi and the likes. And another important thing that this satellite can do for us is security and surveillance. As I mentioned, we can now map our territories effectively. One problem that we're having in Southeast Nigeria, for instance, is that the Nigerian army is struggling to know where ESN and IPOP are hiding. So instead of looking for how to get to them, they just go, they bomb, they map, they just select places and say from here to here, it seems there are a lot of activities. And then start attacking people, you know, say people die. But using satellite data, they can monitor the heat waves in that area. If a place is a market and the heat wave is strong, it's expected. A market is supposed to have a strong heat wave. If a place is inside the bush and the heat wave is strong, you will know that this is not supposed to be happening. The next thing is for you to investigate and then look at the people that are there and look at what they are doing. But because we do not tap into this infrastructure, we are having situations where the Nigerian Air Force is now just throwing bombs into all, killing people who do not even have any form of support for IPOP ESN. Next slide, please. So one day begins to wonder that, go back, one slide, yeah. One day begins to wonder that if Nigeria has the potential to achieve all of this, if we can map our farming systems, if we can warn farmers to when to farm and when not to farm, if we can tell herders that this is the place where people are farming at the moment for them to go, why are we not doing it? And the answer is very simple, old age. Old age. The first Nigerian satellite, Nigeria Sat-1, was launched in 2003. After that one derailed in orbit, it just went off radar. Nigeria was able to make another deal with China for it to be replaced. But between 2003 and now, Nigeria has had two other satellites, Nigeria Sat-X. And then, between that time and now, those satellites have not been effectively used. And then they are out of their life cycle. So these satellites should no longer even be in space. They are what space technologies call space debris. They're just there as aluminium condemned in space. They are not doing any function, they are not working the way they should. Now, what can we do as Nigerians? What should we all do to ensure that these things are available to us, that we use them? The future of crisis resolution in Nigeria is on 3 categories of people. The first category is the individual. I know that a lot of people here do not know that NIMET and NEMA, they give warning signals when the crisis is going to happen. I know that a lot of people do not know. In Florida, early this year or late last year, there was an incident in Florida where they had I think it was an earthquake or a typhoon, and then people were told, people were warned beforehand that something was coming. And when people received these notifications on their phones, they acted on it. People who had bunkers in their homes started taking things to their bunkers. People who did not have bunkers started moving out of the communities. And when the old accident, the old disaster happened, when it passed, people moved back to their homes. Yes, quite alright, some of them lost their homes, but they had the insurance, so they were able to get some of those things back. But lives were saved. Because people, the connection between those sending the information and those receiving it is at par. In Nigeria, if NIMET is sending people, if NIMET is sending farmers information, for instance, they are not going to know. So for the individual, we need people to be involved, to understand that these things are not they are not far-reaching gibberish, they are not just things that Americans do. They are things that we need to do. They are things that affect us. They are things that Mr. Shuaib needs to know. And if you, for instance, have a phone that has some of this information, I think Mr. Shuaib needs it. Pass the information across to Mr. Shuaib. And as individuals, we start advocating for policies. Nigeria is deficient in terms of policies covering the execution of space technology. No Nigerian state actually, no Nigerian state has a comprehensive space policy. But this should not be the case. So state governments need to start looking at how they can tap into, and on the second one, that's the government. State governments need to start looking at how they can tap into the resources of the information that is coming from up and being sent to the ground station. There are so many partnerships between countries. In fact, some countries do not even have Gabon, for instance, they do not have satellite, but they buy data. They buy satellite data from other countries like the USA, like the UK, like France, that their satellite is passing through Gabon space. So they can buy this data, and when they buy this data, they import it. A state government, Kogi state government, can lobby with the federal government, can reach out to them, can negotiate with them, and buy some of this data, and then look at the Kogi state geography. When should we start expecting crisis? How can we prepare in advance before the crisis gets here? Then what do we do afterwards? Then of course, we have non-state actors. Non-state actors need to start looking for how to encourage people, educate them. The same way we go around telling people you should vote, that same way we can start encouraging people to start paying attention to GPS, to satellite technology, to maps on their phones, and start using those simple tools in their everyday lives. So, last slide please. Of course, we are going to die someday. But before we die, we need to fight for our lives. As Nigerians, as Africans, as humans, how do we want to fight for our lives? Do we want to use our hands, or do we want to use our heads? Thank you very much.